So we need to approve meeting minutes from September 18th. And let's see, we're not quite there for the dog ordinance yet. That hasn't taken effect yet. There's the copy to sign when you're ready.
I already read this. I didn't realize there was that meeting.
So this is our first time meeting back in this newly renovated building on the inside. We've reserved a little time here at the beginning if anybody has questions, comments.
Nice and clean.
Right, ceilings.
Yeah. Want me to give you a quick update on it?
Please.
All right. We're probably 40% done with this project. We still have a long way to go. This wing we were really concentrating on to get the staff back into this building. So the unfortunate thing is the bulk of the work that was done you can't see because it's above the ceiling. We had welders, a 3-man welding crew in here for over 4 weeks doing all the structural reinforcing that had to be done. All the ductwork is done already for heat pump installation. We have installed 3 ERVs, or energy recovery units, that bring fresh air into the space. It uses the room air to temper it, and it also has heaters in extreme cold weather to temper it so you're not dumping direct cold air into the space. This lighting, for example, we've incorporated a lot of new technology that now is code-driven. For example, this lighting, you won't see any toggle switches on the wall. They're all motion sensors. And the idea is that when people leave the building, they won't leave the lights on. So you walk into a room, they come on pretty instantaneously, and then when you leave the space and there's no motion in the room, within 5 minutes they'll shut off, so the whole building will go dark. So we have that kind of technology, which is all code-driven. We don't have a lot of choice when we're doing these kind of renovations in commercial space. But all in all, there's still a lot of work to do. We still have to do the exterior wall panels, and we wanted to do them this fall, but we ran out of time. And what's driving the schedule on that is the temperature. The sealants involved in the installation of those panels needs a 60-degree or warmer temperature. So we decided to do a better quality job. We're going to put that off till spring. That won't involve, right now, we're anticipating it won't involve moving the staff again. We can work around that because we leave the exterior wall panels on and most of the work is done on the outside. So the only work that will be done on the inside is trimming out the windows as we work our way down through the building. The heat pumps will be going in the fall. We're applying for a special grant just for that work. Then we have a lot of work to do in the highway department and the garage base, but that won't bother anybody in the staff here. We raised the ceiling, as you noticed. That was it made the room look quite a bit bigger. So, any questions on that?
You're pretty far along on the roof as well. Are you done with the roof?
No, we haven't. We're basically just putting blocking around a perimeter. The roofers should be here the 1st of November.
Okay.
Yeah, that can go on in colder weather. And that, when you think of a normal roof going on, you hire a roofer, you put a roof on. Well, this is different. This is a whole system. It's multiple layers of plywood and installation and tape and sealants. And the whole idea with this architectural firm is to get this building as airtight as you can so you control the air that's coming into the building through our ERVs. And it's not just through leakage. That way we can retain heat in the building, and it's just for energy efficiency. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it like a month, 2 months, 3 months kind of thing for the roof?
What did you say?
How long?
How long will it take to install it?
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
You'll see a gang here. It's a big crew. When they come in, they'll get it done. Yeah. Yep. So here we are.
Okay. Next on the list, we have ARPA grants, and A.L. Baram reached out. Am I muted properly?
You should be muted and your speaker volume should be down. I think what happened in the beginning, I think you might have muted me, so
Okay.
nobody out there was getting sound.
Got
I
it.
didn't realize, but I just unmuted myself.
Got it.
Somebody was trying to write something. Looked like.
That was me.
Oh, that was you.
Someone was chatting saying they have sounds like a bomb, and then I realized I was muted.
So A.L. Baram reached out about the Salt Ash Inn. He applied for ARPA grant funds originally in the amount of $7,500. We did not come to a agreement or scope of work. He did some work on the building, contacted me before the deadline and asked if there were any uncommitted funds left so he could be reimbursed for some of the exterior work that he did. We're giving out $7,500 ARPA grants at the time. The balance we had in uncommitted funds was $3,678. Does this board want to consider reimbursing him for those exterior repairs, upgrades? He did contact me for the deadline, and the work was finished. I hadn't gotten it on the agenda for us. So
I'm sorry, who was the company?
it's A.L. Baram, the Salt Ash cultivation.
Wasn't the cap lower than that? I don't know why I have 4,000 in my head, but.
Oh. No, there was 7,500 apiece. Up to. Yeah.
I don't see why we wouldn't.
Oh, we can't not if we gave it to everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd make a motion we approve it.
Or we just give them whatever's left, in other words.
Yeah, we have $3,678 in uncommitted funds.
What do they do? Paint or something?
Yeah, I have to, as part of it, we'd have to go inspect it, and look at the work and make sure it lines up. But if generally we're in favor of that, I could do that as a next step and then report back and for a final decision. But as long as you're willing to entertain that.
The same, we had that situation with the library, right? Or
Yeah.
Where we had it, they did sheetrock or something, didn't they?
Yeah, they haven't done it.
They haven't done it?
No, so I think their time is up.
Does it have to conform to the same standard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This,
So,
I just wanted to know what the criteria were that he was applying under.
So we made those ARPA grants for businesses in town. The select board made those, and you could spend the money and be reimbursed if you did painting, something that wasn't just like normal maintenance, like lawn mowing, raking leaves. If you improved the appearance of your building, you were eligible for reimbursement up to $7,500. And I can tell you, most of the businesses did take us up on that. Echo Lake Inn, Inn at Water's Edge, Good Commons, they all did painting. And I think Inn at Water's Edge actually paved their driveway.
Yeah, they did pave.
Yeah. So that's what we had done. We did that along with the Village Center designation to try to, get people to take advantage of those tax credits that were now available. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I seconded his motion, so see
We'll have
if it
it.
meets the criteria.
Okay. So I'll report back then at the next meeting? Okay. Moneybrook is also on the agenda. We've had a lot of people ask about that, the damage in Irene. I think I showed photos that I got at the last meeting. I've been speaking with the state, particularly our tactical basin planner, which is Marie Caduto. Todd Manise is also involved, and Scott Jensen. I asked if this board is good with it, for Marie to come to our next select board meeting virtually, go over her presentation. She wrote a paper on it, and there's also an engineering study. And I think I'd like to share that with people that have questions, advertise that, and then I feel like it's then next steps, if we're going to get that thing fixed, what do we do, right? And I think hopefully she can give us sort of the path to, you know, who do we push in Montpelier for that? Is it just the House? Is it the Senate? How do we want to do it? I mean, it's likely millions of dollars to repair that. So if you all into
I think it was maybe 2 years ago, roughly, that they had, doesn't Two Rivers have a plan already? Or they presented something to us about fixing that. There was somebody here, one of the meetings.
Really? I don't remember that.
So some restoration work has been done, right? And like the area next to the Pingreys, they bought that as a floodplain to help control sediment in the event of a flood, but obviously that's not doing the job in a storm like we had. And then a bunch of trees were apparently planted all right in the brook itself where the washout is to try to contain the bank and hold back sediment, but it looks like that all washed out in the July storms. So whatever was done there, it didn't hold up.
Are there any plans to put erosion protection on the slopes before winter? Because that whole thing has been there for 3 months now and it's subject to erosion. I'm
So,
talking about the high area, not the ditch itself.
yeah, so you mean down low or up in the gully?
The whole way, there's no grass anywhere up the bank.
So what we learned from the paper that Marie wrote is that that's been going on for 13,000 years apparently. It's vegetated itself, devegetated itself in storms. There's nothing that's going to be done before winter, that I can assure you. But I think where the opportunity is for us, if something could possibly be done, it's our chance to weigh in and press for this.
I think it has been eroded, that water has come down there maybe for 13,000 years, but we've had 3 months, so you have bare ground there with no soil protection. And all you need is 3 inches of rain, and it's going to erode that, and it could possibly collapse that work.
I don't disagree with you, but that's been happening for 13,000 years.
There's always been grass on there.
We're just that's just a little blip in archaeological time. You know, we don't know how it looked
And
400 years ago.
That's not the answer. I'm sorry.
No, it's not the one we're happy with, but it is truly an
I'm just
answer.
talking about
Yeah.
they're putting grass on drainage ditches.
There's no talk.
Those
Yeah.
drainage ditches have been there for
Yeah.
hundreds of years.
So this is the question, like how do we get somebody to help us out, stabilize the bank, make a grade that works, right? That will hold top dirt and grass.
I'm not saying,
and
Joe,
vegetation.
the state did a tremendous job of fixing that in the time they did. And then they stopped and they left this 4 or 5, whatever it costs, just vulnerable now to any rainfall.
I agree with you.
And that sediment will come down that street again and it will be back where we were.
Have you seen up above,
I
Frank?
haven't been up that.
It's like a giant gravel pit
Yeah,
that the water comes
I've seen
through.
aerial photos.
Okay.
I'm not even talking about that.
Yeah.
That's the long-term problem. I'm talking about the short-term problem where they could have sprayed hydroseed on that in an afternoon and it would have grown somewhere.
Just to help all that are going on.
Yes.
Yeah, they did nothing, they just left it.
Even in my own yard, I planted winter rye
Yeah.
so that I wouldn't have erosion into the river.
Yeah, that would-
And my
that would
yard
work.
is flat, that's a steep slope.
Yeah.
How does it factor in that that's private property?
Oh, so
I mean, it's
there's
well off the right of way of the
Yeah.
road, I mean, so who owns it?
So my employer owns one side, I believe. And
No, I meant who owns the repair, the
Oh.
grass and
Oh, I believe that's
erosion control?
So the state owns the water. Theoretically.
Yeah,
So Karen, do people get their drinking water from that water that's coming down? Does it fill up people's wells?
Good question.
I mean, so if you can't really go spraying and I guess I would say suggest having the state come and give us what they say. I mean, look at Tyson Reading Road, that's caving in all over the place. Has been since Irene, so. You know, another big storm, all those trees up on that hill will be right down where they were before. So just you gotta do what you gotta do at the time you can do it in.
Can we get a place to put the studies on the town website? If I send those to you, that way you'll all have access to those prior to the next meeting. if I had something better, but.
Have you seen that plan?
It's out of our
What does it
hands.
look like? What are they doing? What are they?
There's two things happening. One is Agency of Transportation is working on engineering for the culvert or the bridge, right? So that's one piece of it, but the problem upstream, that's just,
Is that the plan you're talking about, though? The $1 million?
so
Plan?
there's an engineering study. That's all, there's no particular plan,
Okay,
you know?
okay,
And so our job as a community is to advocate for a plan.
Okay.
If we feel like that's a priority.
Well, maybe that's what the guy presented when he was here, in a meeting I'm talking about. Maybe it was things they had already done. So you were talking about planting trees, and I think they had talked about that.
Yeah.
It's got to go back through all the minutes and see who that was and when they were here. I want to say it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Have you talked to the Lake Rescue Association about this? I'm sure they're well want to have something done too.
Yeah, we'll let them know. I think they're a great advocate in this, and we have their contact information. And we'll certainly invite them to the meeting. Any more on that? All right. We've got review and approve the 2023 post-flood paving project request for proposals. Looks like I have a bid here.
we got one bid.
Okay.
Want me to open it? Oh,
You're the winner.
And the road commissioner.
Hopefully it's not one of the guys that pay or haven't paid the 100 yet. They didn't do such a hot job.
Pike Industries, $294,079.50. We'll do a scope review with Larry tomorrow, the highway foreman.
Is that the paved Kingdom Road? and
Yeah, it's
Sullivan
Kingdom Road. Yeah, yeah,
And we expect this to be FEMA reimbursable.
I do.
Which road is that?
Kingdom is the bulk of it.
It's all Tyson Road.
Reading Tyson Road.
Dublin. Are they paving the bridge on Dublin or just from the bridge down?
I
No
don't.
guardrails are going up, huh?
No, not this year.
Gonna be fun,
Yeah, keep your wheels under you.
Yeah, don't go off the edge,
Yeah.
just stay on the road.
Yeah, stay on the road.
Well, sometimes it's so icy, you have no control over that now. You go off.
I know, you're right, you're right.
Hold on. It's
So
horrible.
what?
I live on Kingdom,
I know.
and you know where I live on Kingdom. So at the cemetery, the house next to me, which Tom at the inn owns, and my place, that corner is blind and big. And the speed limit's 35 there, coming down the hill. And, you know, the new signs were put up for 25, which were, you know, knocked over, and then the other one's out. Is there any way to change at the cemetery the speed to 25? Because backing out of the driveway, it's like flipping a coin.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like, because people come down, you know, there is a sign at the cemetery, you know, for Hidden Drive, but you stood in my driveway just to go to the mailbox, it's like, you have to listen for cars, and they're blowing down there, you know, 40, 45, so, you know, just a consideration, maybe lower the speed.
You talking about uphill from where you live? The first-
Yeah, at the
That's where the turn is, yeah.
Right, and going down, like, you know, the panel was just made, even though it's not paved yet, I mean, people are ripping around those corners, and guardrail or not, and I think the guys, by the way, Sailor did a fantastic job.
Boy, didn't he? Phew, he sure
Fantastic.
did. He did a great job.
Yeah, the culverts, the larger rocks, so I think, you know, the engineering was fantastic. However, making it wider, and now, you know, you have the gully down there going to the river, the stream, whatever, people are just gonna be sliding right off there, just the way it's graded, because it was graded for water, it wasn't graded for a racetrack. So I think, you know, in the winter, people go speeding around there, there's gonna be a big problem, because they did such a good job, you know, getting the water off the road so it doesn't wash out.
We can put up the signage, and we can post that at 25 above there as a cautionary sign, but that's not gonna stop them.
I understand, but just, you know.
We'll try it. We can put it, and we will.
Okay, thank
We
you.
will.
Right in that area, so Tice, Pollard Road where you turn in, someone pointed this out to me. So on the right-hand side, up above that, there's a culvert,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's blocked on the other side coming out to the water. We don't know if that's supposed to be like that. There's no way, the water can go in that one side, but it can't come out the other side. One of the neighbors said, can't you record that? I go, I'll mention it. I just thought of it now, so I'll mention it. So I don't know, but it is, it's blocked.
I think I know where you're talking about,
Yeah,
Karen.
it's kind of like, if you know you're turning to Holland, it's kind of right up above it. Was it
Yeah.
done like that for a reason?
Let me look at it with Larry, and I don't have a good answer for you.
Yeah, I don't know if I was saying, but maybe that culvert is put in a different angle and coming out somewhere that we can't see. That's all. So anyway, just so you know that, so at least
So-
we're back up when we get more water.
This line item was about paving, but while we're on the subject of roads, I can give you a quick summary of where we're at. You okay with that? Yeah, okay. If I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say we might be 70% complete with our repairs. We hope to be 95% done by November 1, ready for paving. We still have 4 roads that are closed. We still have 3 other contractors working in town on roads besides our highway crew. We still have a ways to go, but we've come a long ways, and I'm really pleased. And the numbers are coming out way better than the state estimate too. I think we've kept our costs as controlled as we could, and I'm really happy about that.
It looks like you're tracking about a little over half of what the Agency of Transportation estimates were, is that right?
Yeah, but it's going to creep up some more, but you're right, it's dramatically less than what AOT said it was going to be. So that's encouraging, that we've been working efficiently. I feel we have.
Oh, can I ask one other question?
Yeah,
So the highway department's been working a lot of hours, right? They're normally Fridays off throughout this whole thing. I think people probably should know that they've been working long days, is that?
yeah, typically in the summer we work 4 10s, and they've been working 6 10s, 6 12s, sometimes 7 in the start of this problem. So, yeah, I'm impressed in how they've teamed up and worked together, and I got to tell you, I'm impressed with Larry and how he's organized things. It's incredible. There are trucks coming and going every minute out of this yard, either delivering materials or loading materials, taking them out of here. Because we have some trucks that we've hired that don't want to go on construction sites, so they come and stockpile our yard, and then we truck it over to the construction sites in various areas. But just the coordination of all of that, and coordinating the different contractors. This fellow needs a dozer moved from this site to that move, so you got to get a truck and you got to get a trailer and you got to work with them, help them out. And then meanwhile, this guy excavator broke down, so you got to go give him some hydraulic hoses. It's just amazing the amount of balls that are in the air at any given one time, and it's barely starting to slow down, but it's manageable now, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So we're making real good headway. There are a lot of roads that are still rough, that don't have finished gravel on them. We're working on that as best we can, but like I said, we still have 4 roads that I know are still closed. So if your road's open and it's rough, you're in better shape than some people, but we're getting there.
That was part of the reason I'm here. I'm Ken Chamberlain, I live on Upper Round Top. And we have 2 places on our road that's, half the road is missing. And Saturday, while my neighbor's house burned to the ground, Saturday morning, that became almost an issue. Larry drives one of the fire trucks, and he said he had no trouble getting up, but we're losing road every day. I can tell you an inch or so, or maybe not an inch, half an inch a day. But I'm concerned that if that thing gets wiped out in any of the 2 main places that it's eroded, that we won't be able to get up or down our road, and emergency rescue, like fire trucks, wouldn't be able to get up either. As it is, they didn't get there in time. The house was completely burnt. I don't know if you know about that.
I do.
I was there.
I do.
I said I met you up there.
Oh, yeah, that's right, okay.
And I was,
Larry said, I had a chance to talk to him while I was there, or while he was there, and he said that they would be doing something by middle of November, he thought.
yeah, maybe even 2 weeks is our target, to get up there and start repairing that. We want to get it repaired before our pavers come to town, which is first part of November, I hope. So it's on the schedule. We haven't lost sight of it. I was actually up there this morning. I wanted to look at it myself, because Larry mentioned that there was a concern. And there's 16, 18 feet of paved road yet that's passable there. And right now, it's passable, that's all I can
Yeah,
say.
no, it's
And so-
definitely passable, no question. I'm only concerned that, because we watch it,
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Well, if you see it every day-
Something each day seems
Yeah.
to, drop into the abyss. So
Yeah.
if it kept going, or suddenly, if we had another big rain, it could wipe
Gotcha.
the rest of that out. But
It's on our radar, it's on our schedule,
I got that, I
and
appreciate
we're hoping for 2 weeks, but 2 to 3 weeks we'll be
That would
there.
be wonderful. The other thing that came up with this fire is 911 does not work on the hill, and I don't think it works anywhere. I just tried it here.
Is that because you don't have phone reception? or-
No, we have great, well, we don't have cell phone reception, but we have,
Landline?
Wi-Fi calling. And I just did Wi-Fi calling here, so while I was sitting here, dialed 911, it doesn't do anything, doesn't go anywhere. And what it says, when I did it up there, is you're not registered on the network, which is a legitimate thing. If you're on cell service, you have to register because it doesn't know where you are, theoretically anyway, or it used to be that way. I don't know why it did it here, but then when you call the town of Plymouth, so that 911 didn't, we're watching, my wife and I.
So this is your home phone or your cell phone?
Cell phone.
Cell phone.
We don't have
Okay,
home
right.
phones.
A lot of people don't anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have Wi-Fi calling.
Okay.
So we're watching the house burn at 8:40 in the morning when it ignited. And 911 didn't work. Fire rescue for Plymouth didn't work. At that point, we had to get our animals and get our stuff and get ready to leave because it was coming for us next. I mean, we were watching it literally burn 30 feet in the air. There were flames lighting the pine trees on fire, So I said, honey, we're getting out of here. So we start packing stuff up and, getting ready for whatever. And at some point while we were doing it, Tim, who was the contractor, or worked for Donnie, the contractor, was doing the house, came up the road, and he astutely pointed out, we're freaking out, so we're not paying that much attention. He said, good news, the wind's blowing downhill, and this is not likely to come up here. He said, maybe just hose down the berm a little bit, but it's not likely to come here, and we realized it wasn't. But it pointed out that we don't know who to call, and
So it's definitely 911, right? And I think the first step is you should, to help us understand the problem, is contact your internet service provider and cell phone carrier to find out why that didn't
well,
work.
I'm not on cell service here right now, and I am dialing 911 as we speak on my phone. And I challenge anybody else to try, but nothing happens. Emergency shows it, but nothing's happening. And I'm on speakerphone right
I think some of that is, when you go through VoIP, it doesn't recognize it, so it won't take it. Because that's what we're on here. is-
911 doesn't work on Wi-Fi.
now. Okay.
It can't,
Can't determine who you are.
exactly, it
Well,
doesn't really even know.
Okay, so everybody in this mountain uses VoIP. There's nobody up on that mountain that's it's got a cell phone.
So you call local dispatch direct?
Most of the towns, so you've got a big void there in emergency services. So here's what I was gonna ask. Can the town publish the phone numbers? Because I was told, so I wound up calling Killington, by the way, after we settled enough that we realized we weren't evacuating, called Killington. That doesn't work over here. We're serviced from 100A, that way, is serviced by Woodstock. Fire rescue.
Ambulance
Ambulance only.
Just the ambulances.
Okay,
Remember I told you, you gotta call Ludlow Dispatch for fire.
Ludlow for fire, okay, and ambulance, and another one for police.
Yeah, whoever sheriff.
So here's the thing, can the town publish for the townspeople on the website or wherever, the numbers that we need to use for the various services, since 911 ain't working?
I think that's pretty reasonable, yeah? So
I don't know what
That-
fire department's on
the
there
word-
I
already.
think they're in the town report, but I'm not sure.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So I have that put on mine.
And not that that is an important step for us, but I do believe that the little store over here contracted with, is it Magic Mountain cell phone towers or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
So they're supposed to have
Yeah.
cell phone service, and it really apparently goes up the hills very well. We were gonna do that here on this building, but we decided not to because they were going to at the store. So we can get a timeline for everyone on that. And the latest word, part B of that, we're informed that somebody picked up the contract on the line cell phone tower right over here.
Right.
You mean up at Spike's?
Yeah. So that is our understanding that we're going to have 2 cell phone towers in town.
That would be awesome.
We don't have clarity on timeline yet.
Okay.
So on Kingdom Road, I guess is what I'm on, right? Weaver Hill, there was somebody up on one of the poles working on something, but they were up, whatever, by themselves for 2 days. But there was nothing that was on the side of the truck, so I'm wondering what's going on up there.
That's for fiber optic.
That's the fiber optics, so I'm unaware of that, so that's interesting. Okay, just curious. So I was gonna stop and I'm like, way up there, I didn't wanna.
I just talked to that guy the other day, they're from TDS, TDS is putting in fiber now.
Okay, because that's the only option I have is TDS.
Why to something, they're a company out of New Jersey that got
Yeah, you have
contract
New
with them.
Jersey plates, and I'm like, well, but there's nothing really on the side written to say,
It's Y something, Y2 or something, Ycom.
yeah, okay, that's good to know.
You get your internet from? I'm T-Mobile, but I also got, because your internet. Oh, I'm sorry. Decal is fantastic, fiber optic.
You'll have a telephone in your house then.
We can, but it's still void. If you're on, it's fiber optic, it's not landline. You're still basically a version of Wi-Fi calling.
But if you subscribe,
Recognize it though.
but you will, if you subscribe,
If I recognize it if I had a
Yes.
phone?
if you get voice on your plan and you get a handset, it recognizes your number is unique, right? You'll have a 672 number probably.
Well, I'll call VTEL, who, by the way, I think is fantastic if you have a choice over Comcast. But I'll call them if they say that is, then I'll add phone service, if only for that.
You know, I have a landline for emergency purposes like that, so when my power's out, I could still call Green Mountain Power and report the power outage, because my cell phones are on Wi-Fi, so they don't work. So if I have a power outage, I plug in my landline, I have a little old landline phone,
Yeah.
I plug it in a jack and
Right, the old
Who's the
rotary,
provider for that?
I have a rotary phone for that,
okay,
same purpose.
yeah, same thing.
Provider? Where's that come?
For us,
TDS for us, I don't know what's on your side of the mountain.
VTEL.
Or
Well,
VTEL.
VTEL is, I'd be on,
Retail's a telephone company.
no, I know, but wouldn't I still be on fiber optic, which requires a modem, which means it's void?
No, I don't think so. Not with the old fashioned plug-in phones. I have a candlestick phone, it's rotary, you go like this, it works.
So
Well, I'll find out.
So it-
Find out.
Yeah, that's
Certainly
what I
worth
use.
looking at.
if you get fiber, VTEL gives you a battery that keeps your fiber up for a limited amount of time. There's no more copper lines really.
I have that already, I have
Oh.
a giant
Yeah.
battery backup at the house,
Yeah.
all that stuff, yeah,
Okay, well, I don't
okay, good to know.
All right.
I think that's all we had on the agenda outside of, we have an executive session just to discuss some staffing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
like those.
Thanks for that.
Okay.
Mike, could you? Mike, stay around.
Mike Coleman?
Yeah.
He's right there.
Can I shut down the Zoom? Can I shut down the Zoom?
None of those people are on the same.